Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be kind of a throwback style video, but in a different way, not like a typical Throwback Thursday, like do my makeup type of video, but we are going to be revisiting my If I Could Only Choose One tag that was created by Kelly Gooch. She actually just redid hers as well, so she has the one that she created and then she redid hers for this year. So I will have both. So I'll have her channel and both of those videos linked down below for you guys. But if you're unfamiliar with this tag, basically it's just like your response to like if you could only choose one primer and one foundation and yada yada for the rest of your life, which would you choose? So I thought it would be fun today to revisit my answers from last year and see how they've changed to this year. I do have some that are the same and I do have some that have changed. So if you guys are interested in hearing my thoughts about this tag video for 2019 as well as my thoughts on last year's pick, then stay tuned. But first, if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, I hope you'll consider doing so before you go. I post videos every single Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. And without further ado, let's get into the video. Alright guys, so if you're interested in catching or watching last year's video that I filmed and posted, I will leave that linked down below, but I'll also just be telling you my answers from last year in this video. So up first with the primer category. And last year I selected the First Aid Beauty Coconut Skin Smoothing Primer Moisturizer. I just have a little guy right now. And at the time, this was my favorite primer. It still is, like either my favorite or in my top two. However, I was thinking about if I could truly only choose one primer for the rest of my life, I think I'd actually go with the Smashbox Primerizer, the priming moisturizer. I don't actually have that currently in my collection because I'm trying to get through some other primers before I go out and repurchase that. I do intend to purchase a full size in the First Aid Beauty as well as the Smashbox. Like I said, those two are like neck and neck for number one, but the reason I would go with the Smashbox one is because the First Aid Beauty gives a bit of a glow to the skin, which I love, but for year round, I think I would like in the winter months to have an option to have a primer that doesn't necessarily give that glow to the skin in case I'm not feeling that. Both are super moisturizing. The thing that I love about the First Aid Beauty one is it smells like coconuts, but thinking if I could only use the same primer for the rest of my life, I think I would go with the Smashbox Primerizer. So then for the foundation category, last year I said that I would select the Dior Skin Forever foundation. And for this year, I don't know if they even make just the Dior Forever anymore. Now they have like a matte version as well as a dewy version. Still love this foundation. If you can't get your hands on this anymore, I truly will be sad when I finish this off. This is currently going in my 2019 project pan. So I did end up selecting a different foundation and I went with the other foundation that's in my 2019 project pan. I went with the Too Faced Born This Way foundation, and the reason I went with this is because I love that this still gives medium to full coverage, which is typically what I prefer. I like more of a medium coverage foundation, but you can make this, the finish of this is just like almost like dual purpose. Like I feel like there's days where I can make this look more matte, but then if I want it to look a little bit dewy or a little bit radiant, I can kind of get that effect too. It is definitely more of like a natural finish, but I feel like I can get it to lean either matte or dewy depending on like what I mix it with. So this would be my choice this year. For the concealer category, last year I selected the Too Faced Born This Way Naturally Radiant Concealer, which is the one in the skinnier tube, the one that looks more like a standard concealer. And this year, I'm deciding to go with the Too Faced Born This Way Multi-Use Sculpting Concealer. This one, the reason I love this one, I finished off my other like Too Faced Born This Way Naturally Radiant, and I don't think I would repurchase that one actually, shockingly. I think the reason I chose that last year was just because it was the concealer I was using every single day because it was going in a project pan. And it was just the one I felt most comfortable using at the time. But the reason I love this is because it is so full coverage, but it doesn't come off too dry on the skin. And this just looks so beautiful. This never like leads me astray. This always comes through for me, and I really love this concealer. I don't wear this. The only thing that would suck about wearing this on an everyday basis is because it is a full coverage concealer. So if you're not looking for something as full coverage, that's where it'd get a little bit dicey, but I feel like I could try and sheer it out with a moisturizer or something if I really wanted to. And then I also love this because it's dual purpose. You can use this as a foundation if you want to. So I thought it would be a really good choice. Okay, last year I did not choose a powder, but I thought it'd be fun to throw a powder in for this year, and I was going between like a pressed powder and a loose powder, and I decided to go with a loose powder, and I was going to go with the Hourglass Vanish powder, but I actually am going with the Too Faced Born This Way Ethereal Setting Powder. I just realized how many Too Faced Born This Way products I have selected for this, but I just love the way that this looks when I use it to set underneath my eyes, and then I can also use this to set my entire face if I want. I just love the finish that this gives. I think it is a great powder. You get a ton of powder in here, and it's a little less expensive than the Hourglass, so if I was only using one for the rest of my life, I figure this would be one that was like a little less expensive, so this is my choice for my powder if I could only choose one. Okay, I'm really struggling with my lighting. I don't know if I'll be able to like edit the lighting, but if it looks like I'm like brighter and then not brighter, sorry you guys. Okay, next up we have bronzer, and last year for my bronzer I chose the Becca Sunlit Bronzer in Capri Coast. I'm not going to open this up and show you because this is also going in my 19 and 2019 project pan, and I don't want to spoil my progress for you guys. I will be posting my first update for that project at the end of this month, and my answer for this year is the same. I really love this bronzer. I think it's so beautiful on the skin. I can use it in the winter, fall, summer, spring, doesn't matter the season. I always love the way that this looks on my skin. This has lasted me a very long time, so I feel like it's a bronzer that I can get a ton of use out of. The shade that I have, I can't remember if I said, is Capri Coast, and I feel like this is just a really nice shade for me. Love this bronzer. This would definitely be my pick if I could only choose one. And then last year for blush, I selected Mood Exposure by Hourglass, and I have the same answer for this year. Oh yeah, this was going in my Roulette Pan collab, and I was like, I don't see any progress, but now that I'm like swatching it, I can definitely tell the layer has gone down. I use this so much the last like 3 to 4 months. What I love about this blush, and the reason that I chose this blush, is this is such a beautiful blush all year round. Again, I don't think it matters the season. I feel like this always looks beautiful. I love that it gives just a hint. It's not a matte blush, it gives just a hint of a glow. So in the summertime, if you're looking for a little bit like glowier cheeks, which I typically tend to like, you can get that effect, but it's nothing too much. And this is a blush that can be built, so you can either do it subtly, or if you build it up, you can have, you know, really rosy looking cheeks. So I love Mood Exposure by Hourglass, and this would definitely be my #1 choice. Oh no, I dropped my highlight. I'm really scared to look. That was not a good landing. Oh, I don't think it's good. It didn't shatter. Oh, my heart was literally pounding, which is pathetic, but this is an expensive highlight. Okay, so my answer last year for the highlight category was Euphoric Strobe Light by Hourglass, which is this right here. I'm like unofficially trying to pan this shade. It's like a beautiful light champagne shade, and this is actually more subtle than I like originally thought last year. You can build it up, but not to be, you can't build this to be like a super intense highlight in my opinion. I do have their palette with the 3 pans. I don't know if that was limited edition, but I do feel like those highlights are a little bit more intense. Anyway, I actually am changing my answer for my highlight. This highlight, the Fenty Beauty Kilowatt highlight in Lightning Dust and Fire Crystal, which is like the champagne. I don't want to show this either because it's in my project pan, so I don't want to show the progress. But Lightning Dust and Fire Crystal, it's the lighter one. I think it's her lightest one. I love this. It has a side that's more subtle and a side that's more intense, so it's almost like you're getting 2 highlights in one, which is one reason that I chose this. But I just love this highlight. It is by far my favorite highlight in my collection. I'm always reaching for this. I've been using this a ton because it's in my project pan, but even when I'm like, okay, you should start reaching for a different highlight, I find myself still always wanting to reach for this. If I ever run out of this highlight or use it up, I would 110% go out and repurchase it. If I ever found out that they were discontinuing this highlight, I would be heartbroken, and I would buy it, not kidding, like 4 or 5 just to like get me through, because I've swatched this with other highlights that look similar in my collection, and it just does not give the same effect. I love the subtle side. It's subtle, but like still like a highlight. Like you can definitely still see that there's highlight there. I just love this highlight so much. The formula is beautiful, super easy to work with, and this would 110% be my choice if I could only choose one highlight for the rest of my life. For lip categories, I went with lipstick, lip gloss, and liquid lipstick last year. For gloss last year, I wasn't that into gloss at the time, so I went with the Marc Jacobs lip gloss in Sugar Sugar, which has just always been a favorite of mine, and I still love this gloss, but it is more of like a nude gloss. So if I were to only be able to pick one gloss for the rest of my life, I would pick the gloss that I have on my lips right now, which is the Fenty Beauty Gloss Bomb in Fussy. I love the Fenty Beauty lip gloss. I recently filmed, it won't be posted yet, but I filmed a like ranking style lip gloss of my top 10 lip gloss formulas currently in my collection, so keep an eye out for that. But you'll definitely find this lip gloss in there, and this is 100% the lip gloss I would choose if I could only choose one lip gloss to wear for the rest of my life. For lipstick last year, I selected Tarte Rum Punch. This is from their Rainforest of the Sea collection. This is a super hydrating lipstick, so it's super comfortable, which I prefer in a lipstick. I don't like anything too matte or like too draggy when you apply it. For this year, I'm selecting the exact same lipstick. I love this lipstick. This is also going in my 19 and 2019. I chose a lot of favorites for my 19 and 2019 project pan. This is what it looks like swatched. It's just a really beautiful nude, kind of leaning more towards the brown side, which I typically prefer in my nudes when they have like more of a brownish hint to them. And again, it's a super comfortable formula, so you can get away with it. You do have to reapply this more often than like a matte lipstick. I've never noticed transfer in my teeth, but it doesn't last. It's not the longest lasting lipstick because it is such a hydrating formula, but definitely a favorite and definitely my choice again this year if I could only choose one. So for liquid lipsticks last year, I chose the shade Brick by Dose of Colors. Shoot, and I think I said in that video the reason I chose this was so I could have like a red shade, and I just realized I didn't choose a red shade. Everything's going to be like more on the neutral side, but if I could only choose one liquid lipstick to wear forever, it would be still the Dose of Colors formula. That's probably by far my favorite liquid lipstick formula, but in the shade Lazy Daisy, which is more of a neutral mauve toned shade. And this actually is also going in my 19 and 2019 project pan. There it is right there, just a beautiful mauve shade, like I said. So going with the same liquid lipstick formula, but switching my color this year. For eyeliner last year, I talked about the ColourPop gel liner in the shade Stomper, which is this dark brown shade, and I don't think this shade is available anymore, which is such a bummer. So I decided to pick, even though this would still be my #1 answer, I decided to pick an eyeliner that you can for sure get your hands on still, and I'm going with an even cheaper option than ColourPop. It's the Essence Extreme Lasting Eye Pencil. I have mine in the shade 2, which is called But First Espresso, which is again a deep brown shade. I typically tend to go with a dark brown shade in my waterline on most days. This is in my waterline today. It just works so well for every day, and this lasts a super long time in the waterline. It's only $2.99. It's such an affordable pencil and such a quality pencil, so this would be my choice for this year. My answer for the brow category is going to be the same this year as it was last year. I'm going with the Brow Powder Duo by ABH. I typically just like to go with a brow powder in my eyebrows. It's actually shockingly not what I have in my brows today. I have mine in the shade Ebony. It's like a split pan, so there's one side that's just a little bit lighter than the other side, but this works really well. It's a great shade match for me. I love it. I've obviously used a ton of it, but I've had this almost for a year now, and I have used this so often, and I'm not even halfway done with this. So this will also last an incredibly long time, and this, hands down, it's my favorite brow product. For eyeshadow last year, I told you guys I would choose the Master Palette by Mario. Obviously this is no longer available, and it wasn't last year, so I feel like I was kind of cheating in my answer. So as you can tell, it's a beautiful palette. I love this palette. I still reach for this all the time. I'm currently trying to pan one of the shades in here. Still love everything about this palette. However, for my answer for this year, I'm going with the ABH, still the same brand, ABH Soft Glam palette. And the reason why is because I feel like I'm left with more options. Even though the Mario palette has, you know, a little bit more color with like the green and the blue, I just feel like I'm left with more options. I get 2 more shades in this one. It comes with a black if I ever want to use a black to deepen up any looks, and I just really love like burgundy and like orangey red tones, which is essentially what this palette is. I love the shimmers in this palette. I think it's beautiful. It actually is what I have on my eyes today. I think it is just such a standout, phenomenal palette. I don't mind working with the formula. This one doesn't have quite as much kick up as some of the other ABH ones. It's still like a looser formula, so you do have to be careful, work with it a little bit, be a little bit like, it takes a little bit of extra effort when you're working with it, but still just an amazing palette and would definitely be my choice this year. And then finally, for the setting spray category, I actually did not answer for the setting spray category last year, but this was a tough one and I don't know why. But I went with the MAC Fix Plus, and the reason why is because this for me is such a multi-purpose spray. I can use this to wet my brush. I love the way that my skin looks when I use this as a setting spray. I just feel like it fixes my makeup better than other setting sprays. And while this may not work as well as some other setting sprays as far as like longevity of my makeup wear, overall it helps to improve the look of my makeup more than other setting sprays. So that's why I went with this. I will always have the MAC Fix Plus in my collection. It's such a good mist. I love it. You can't go wrong. So definitely my choice for setting spray. And after that, you guys, those are all my picks for the If I Could Only Choose One makeup tag, again created by Kelly Gooch. Check her channel out, check her videos out. I love watching Kelly's videos. She's incredible. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Again, if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, don't forget to do so before you go, and I'll catch you guys in my next video. Bye.